Hello, my name is Jintao. Today, I will explore a recent business simulation that significantly impacted my approach to ethical decision making and cultural understanding. This simulation centered on a potential child labor issue within a global supply chain. In this simulation, an Australian company, Billy's Health Snack, had a profitable partnership with City Confectionery. However, a Billy's representative suspected child labor practices within City Confectionery supply chain. I was part of a task force investigating this issue to advise Billy's on the partnership's future, and that's a picture of me right there. A pivotal moment occurred when questioning City Confectionery's CEO about child labor policies. Her lack of knowledge was shocking. She couldn't answer basic questions about minimum working age and repeatedly hesitated. This mix of ignorance and dismissiveness was deeply frustrating, as I believe companies have a fundamental ethical duty to protect vulnerable workers. This realization fueled a shift in my questioning, focusing on uncovering the specifics of their labor practices and supply chain oversight. Another turning point came when we questioned the CSO about child labor. Instead of direct answers, he focused on his reputation, implying that admitting problems would harm his standing. This strongly suggested that he was hiding child labor issues. Tension escalated as the CEO and CFO denied wrongdoing, clashing with the CSO's hesitant denials. This exposed a deep rift within City Confectionery's leadership, making it even harder to uncover the truth within this ethically compromised environment. Initially, I had a naive view of ethical business. I assumed clear right and wrong choices. This simulation shattered that simplistic belief. I now recognize the complexities involved in global ethical decision making. Before, my sole focus was the harm of child labor. Now, I understand the need to consider competing factors like economic pressures and local context. While unethical practices are never justified, this complexity demands a nuanced approach to finding solutions. After careful consideration, I recommend Billy continue the partnership with City Confectionery under strict conditions. Billy must demand random, unannounced audits of their facility and supply chain to ensure ethical labor practices. This aligns with stakeholder theory, emphasizing the need to balance ethical concern with the well-being of those affected. While immediate termination might seem ideal, it could harm City Confectionery's worker. This approach allows Billy to drive positive change while mitigating the risk of continued exploitation. Within my task force, some members favor continuing the partnership with minimal changes. Their perspective aligns with a utilitarian ethical framework, which prioritizes maximizing overall good even if it means accepting some negative consequences. This aligns with argument for ethical pragmatism discussed in the context of global business. This viewpoint argues that ending the partnership could disrupt City Confectionery's operation and harm their workers who might rely on this income. From this perspective, the potential benefit of protecting a smaller number of children from labor might be outweighed by the broader negative consequences for many others. While I respect the logic of this approach, I ultimately disagree. My recommendation prioritizes principles emphasized in recent work on right-based approach to supply chain ethics. I believe Billy has a moral obligation to use its leverage to drive positive change even if the path is challenging. My recommendation has both potential benefits and risk. Positively, it could improve labor conditions within City Confectionery supply chain and enhance Billy's reputation as an ethical company. However, there might be short-term costs and disruption for City Confectioneries and their workers. It's essential to consider all those affected by this decision. Stakeholder theory reminds us that business have responsibilities beyond just profit, extending to workers, communities, and consumers. This situation highlights the difficult ethical trade-off often faced in global supply chain. This simulation highlights the importance of cultural awareness. Initially, I held an ethnocentric view, assuming my values were universal. However, the executive's response challenged this, emphasizing the need to understand their context before making judgment. Cultural relativism reminds us to consider economic pressure, local norms, and other factors shaping their decision. Moving forward, I commit to questioning my assumption and seeking diverse viewpoints, especially in cross-cultural business settings. While the executive's initial responses might have seemed dismissive, this simulation taught me the importance of empathy. Instead of rushing to judgment, it's crucial to attempt to understand the pressure and constraint they might be operating under. Factors like economic realities, local regulations, or differing cultural norms could shape their decision-making process. Seeking to comprehend these complexities is essential for building trust and finding solutions that are both ethical and workable within their context. Recognizing the limitation of my own perspective has instilled a deeper commitment to intercultural empathy in my future business dealings. This aligns with principles emphasized in the recent work on cultural intelligence in global leadership. This simulation provided invaluable lessons about ethical decision making. Firstly, I learned the importance of gathering information from diverse sources before forming judgments. Relying solely on my initial assumption would have led to an incomplete and potentially harmful response. Secondly, complex ethical issues rarely have easy black and white solutions. It's essential to weigh competing ethical principles, stakeholder interests, and the practical realities of the situation. This aligns with the concept of ethical pluralism. Finally, the simulation underscores that cultural sensitivity is crucial for responsible decision making in the global business world. My own biases could easily hinder finding solutions that are both ethical and effective within different contexts. This simulation has been a transformative experience. In facing future ethical dilemmas, I will 1. Actively challenge my assumption by seeking out perspectives that differ from my own. I will consult diverse sources and engage in dialogue with people from different backgrounds to broaden my understanding. 2. Embrace complexity and nuance. I recognize that ethical business often means carefully weighing competing values and practical constraints. I'm committed to using established ethical frameworks to guide these difficult decisions. 3. Champion cultural sensitivity within my workplace. I will advocate for training and resources that promote intercultural understanding, fostering an environment where diverse perspectives are respected and ethical collaboration across cultures is the norm. Here are all my academic references, and thank you for listening.